Before we get started with the show, let me introduce my brand new book, Your First Franchise Roadmap. If you've ever considered getting a franchise, this will give you a pathway there. You can get a free copy on Amazon, unlimited Kindle version, or just know this, the paperback version. All the profits from the paperback version go to Make a Wish. So it's got a great cause, or get a free version. Now let's get started with the show. Disruptors, I've got a special episode for you all of Your First Franchise and two incredible guests, Steve and Tracie Shatkin, and they are the proud owners of Mammoth Coffee Roasting Company in Mammoth Lakes. Probably, I've always been a huge fan of Colorado in the Wyoming area, and after visiting their location, I am blown away by Mammoth Lakes. Tracie, Steve, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much. You're too kind. We do live in a beautiful mountain town. But
it's phenomenal. It's one of the most beautiful places I've been to in the United States. It really is. And I've been all over the U.S.
Thank you.
So there's so much to unpack. Yeah, there's so much to unpack here. What I want to preempt with folks is a couple things. One, we're doing this live. You all doing it live from your coffee shop today, which is anything can happen.
That's right.
And you're in a restaurant business or a hospitality business, so anything can literally happen.
That's right.
And the other thing is, you all get it. I want to talk about that real quick because you all brought me and Mike and Dior and Charlie. We had a chance to come visit. There's some of my colleagues in the franchise world, and we all came out to see you all. And I come from New Orleans, and there's a family called the Brennan's family here in New Orleans, and they've got 4 or 5 of the signature restaurants in this city. And they are the iconic brand in this city. Commander's Palace, Brennan's Restaurant, Palace Cafe. Those are some of the restaurants they have. And there's one thing that they're known for. It's hospitality. And you all were at the bar, or maybe even went a little bit above the bar with what they did. So that's special. And I know you all subscribe to Danny Meyer's philosophy, and then there's another term you like to use, and that is unreasonable hospitality. So we're going to come back to that because all that plays into why your brand is a success. But before we get started, speaking of hospitality, you took me and the others to dinner as part of the hospitality. And a question I normally ask on Close the Deal podcast is, where do you take somebody to do business or close the deal? And you took me to a bowling alley, but it wasn't a normal bowling alley. It's called Rocky Bowl, but above there, I'm going to answer the question. How do you say the name of the restaurant? Le Brasserie? How do you say the name of the restaurant?
We call it the Brasserie.
The Brasserie. Okay, so
locals call it the Brass.
The Brass. Okay, so that restaurant, we go from the Rock and Bowl. We have a Rock and Bowl here in New Orleans, which is pretty cool. Different vibe, but very cool. But we do not have a 5-star restaurant sitting above the bowling alley here in New Orleans. And the hospitality you all provided to us was off the charts. And I want people to understand that's the part of the culture that you bring to this business. So I answered the question I normally ask. I answered the question I normally ask because of your hospitality and the graciousness that you all showed us. So I've built you all up enough. I want to ask you all.
See you later.
I want to ask you all a question. What are you all grateful for that helped y'all get you where you're today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm grateful for
in the world of when you hung and it's full, his full.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And everybody in town knows you all. So there you go.
So, we were hanging out with Dave last night. So anyway, that's an easy question for me to answer because I'm grateful for Tracie.
Yes.
She's the one that actually kind of spurred us moving to Mammoth, getting a home here, and also came up with the idea, why don't we start a coffee shop here? Why there's no Mammoth coffee here? And so she was kind of the impetus of this whole thing. There's another backstory, but grateful to Tracie and all the people that have helped us along the way to make this successful. I mean, our friends, our family, our employees. Without our employees, we
Mhm.
have a cafe to begin with.
That's true.
And then, of course, all of our clients and our customers and people in the community that support us.
And you all are in sync, in a way that most people are not in sync. You all have a very passion. You have a very much a passion for something that struck my attention when I came to visit you all regarding alligators. And you all have matching alligators. So y'all, where
Yeah,
your arm and her arm together make
spirit
an
animal.
alligator.
Yeah, they're
Those two, when you put those two together, we have an alligator. All right.
that's our
So
super.
it is a superpower. So let's unpack the brand.
Yeah.
A little bit of history. Why coffee? Why the coffee house, and
Sure.
a little bit, just a touch on your history, because you do bring it back, or you bring a very specific background. Both of y'all have very specific backgrounds that make
Yeah.
this successful.
Yeah, so like the history of us together is kind of what brought us to this point in time. So my
Mhm.
background is in chemical engineering. I owned a metal fabrication and powder coating shop for 30 years. Tracie was working with her dad in a related industry and then started working with our company for 10, 15 years. And I've known Tracie for 30 years.
Mhm.
That. So we work really well together.
Mhm.
And then I bought a coffee roaster just kind of on a whim. And she calls me and says, what's this big pallet doing on our driveway? And I'm going to roast coffee, of course. And she's like, yeah, of course you are. So we set this little thing up and we had it plumbed into the chimney. And Tracie was there and I read all about coffee. I go down this science rabbit hole. And then I do my first batch of coffee and I'm like, wow, I can smell the coffee. I'm really roasting coffee. The beans are cracking. Everything's working. And I'm like, wait, there's something orange inside the little window in the drum. I look at that. Everything's on fire, completely on fire. So I open up the chute, flaming beans come flying out.
The
And I'm
flaming
like,
beans.
wow, this is, can you please get me the fire extinguisher? She's like, oh my God, everything's on fire. She runs and grabs the fire extinguisher, doused it out. That was the first. That was
The
the
first batch.
the first batch. That was the first batch of coffee. And thankfully, things have improved significantly since then.
So we didn't go down the route of calling the coffee shop the flaming beans. It's
That would have been a funny name, highly inappropriate for success, but
and your branding is very unique. I've got y'all. Can you say it? There you go.
Yeah,
You got your coffee cup here. I love the branding. Everything about you all is very unique. It reflects you all. So let's talk about what is it that so you did all the research, the work to create the coffee. You bring systems and processes to the business, which made you a natural for the franchise business, because you don't run a manufacturing plant unless you have very precise systems and processes.
right.
And I got to see your systems and processes behind the scene. You're showing us all the details that you put in, but it's the care and love and the mission. Let's talk about the mission of the brand and the culture of the coffee shop, because I think that's what really sets you all apart in the hospitality approach that y'all have.
Well, before we even opened the cafe, we started doing fundraisers for schools. Our
Okay.
summer band and marching band, they sold coffee and made,
$2,700 in 2 weeks.
yeah. So
Wow.
that was really profitable and fun. And it was a great fundraiser. And then later on, we got the opportunity to purchase a space up in Mammoth. And I said, hey, do you want to open a brick and mortar? Should we do this? And
Oh, wow.
yeah, we just kind of
And we went
took
all
the
in.
leap. Yeah.
And it kind of grown from that first fundraiser, and that was part of our community service,
Okay.
to becoming just a way of life with our brand. So our tagline is helping humanity one roast at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is helping people in big ways by empowering entrepreneurs and setting up franchises and coffee shops so they can in turn help their community, and also helping people in small ways. And that's giving people jobs and
Yeah.
just paying attention and offering that unreasonable hospitality to our guests, to our employees. And that's simply Will Gadara's. He worked for Danny Meyer, owned 11 Madison Park. He's like my mentor. it's giving more than what's expected.
Mhm.
And we try to teach our staff that philosophy also. And it's not only applicable to hospitality, but to your spouse or to your kids or to your car salesman job, whatever it is, it always makes things easier and opens more doors that way.
It does.
Very involved in community. We do a lot of
Yeah.
knitting, around the community, and really encourage that with our franchisees and just part of what we do.
Well, we put our money where our mouth is. Well,
Mhm.
and like Tracie and I are both on the board, auxiliary board for disabled sports.
Mhm.
I'm on the Mono Grand Jury, the Arts Council, and we do things for and with the community to try to help support our mission, which is the passion of giving. And it really works for us.
And that was evident to me. I mean, I picked up on that besides you all talking about it, when I had the chance to go out with you all, spend 2 days with you all, and wherever we went, everybody, you all were recognized, but it's because of the impact and the relationships you've built in that community. And that's what's so special about a coffee shop. I mean, you all were built for this because you all bring the community together and the mission driven. And for people wondering what the sports piece is, that's all that is the disabled athletes that are skiing down the mountain, that one of the
That's
most
right.
amazing ski slopes in the country.
Yeah.
So that you helping those folks out was really unique.
Yeah, a lot of veterans, a lot of military vets that have been injured physically. Also, if you have a mental injury, I guess,
Yep.
they have highly trained coaches,
Yeah.
and they work with people on the spectrum. They work with people that are amputees, and it's a very well respected program in the United States. And so they use these highly trained coaches and specialized equipment to get people back outside
That's great.
because nature is so therapeutic. I
Yeah.
mean, coming from Los Angeles and relocating here, every time we would come up here, it's like a decompression. And we
Yeah.
try to provide that to our guests and also to our employees.
Yes. So, and that sets the stage for everything. Now let's talk about the quality, because you fed us. Not only did you take us out to dinner, but of course we're here at we're in your coffee shop right now, and the quality of the food. I mean, I didn't even start with the coffee. I thought the quality of the food was phenomenal. And then the coffee itself is phenomenal, the former Fleming beans. And talk about what you put, your heart and soul goes into the quality of the food. So let's talk about that.
We have to start with the best.
Yeah, we use grade 1 coffee for coffee. And if you know coffee, that's the best you can use. So you have to start with the best to get the best quality, right? And then with our baking, we really worked together to develop those recipes and took a long time. We use organic flour, cage free eggs. We try to put quality ingredients and also offer a variety of options. So we have gluten free, we have vegan options for people in the pastries and the breakfast and lunch items we offer as well. So
Okay.
Or if you're going to indulge in a treat like a pastry or a donut, which are amazing, might as well make it as healthy as possible and as quality as possible. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is we're baking at altitude. So there's another whole consideration of perks that go into that.
You're baking at altitude. You're baking at a high, an area where everything's a little more expensive because you're at the top of the mountain.
Sure.
And the model works there because you have excellent margins. Talk about the margins you all have for I think it's the gross margins.
Well, we both our gross margin is 70.2%.
So that's excellent.
So that's a pretty good margin. And if we can achieve those margins here where things are about 15 to 20% more expensive because we're kind of remote, and we have a difficult labor pool to draw from, someone in Pasadena, Los Angeles, San Diego, Austin, Dallas, New Orleans, they're going to have a much easier time. Also, we're a resort town. Or we have a fluctuating revenue stream, and it's feast or famine for us here, right? So it's the summertime, everyone's coming to hike. Or the wintertime, everyone's enjoying summer sports. there's what they call shoulder season, where
Mhm.
there are very few people here. And that's
Mhm.
probably 4 months out of the year.
Mhm.
So extrapolating, there's a lot more revenue to be had in a non-highly resort area.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
works, and if it can work there, it can work just about anywhere
agree.
because the costs are going to go down in other areas. Um, you all, the quality. So you all bring. I'll talk about the menu for a second because this is
Yep.
kind of unique. I mean, I know you make the donuts, which are phenomenal. Yeah, I'm a donut guy, and you all make those every morning from scratch. But you all have a few others. Maybe just talk about 2 or 3 of the signature items, and then the coffee itself.
What's your favorite? Well, the thing that I want to point out is you can go to a good donut shop and get a great donut
Mhm.
and you'll get crappy coffee. Or you
Yes,
can go to a really good coffee house and you can't get good baked goods.
that's right.
Or fast casual food, burritos, sandwiches and stuff.
Yep,
So combined all that. So
that's awesome.
that's like our secret sauce and taking these things together. But about the food, what's your favorite item on the menu?
Oh boy. I love our bagel mucks.
Mhm.
And I think the avocado toast is my
That
go-to.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for treats, I love our coffee cake. And then on Sundays we do cinnamon rolls, which are like
I was gonna bring
this
that.
big. Yeah. We sell out every Sunday.
There's a deer walking across the street right now. Just like
Well, yeah, anything can happen. There's
you
a
think
deer.
there's a deer right there.
Mhm. And we sell out usually pretty early. We're starting to encourage people to pre-buy them on Saturdays before.
The cinnamon roll Sunday.
Yeah,
Cinnamon
cinnamon
roll
roll
Sunday.
Sunday.
People are
Yeah,
waiting out the door every Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's pretty.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're gonna roll that out to all of our franchisees. That's Tracie's recipe, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. So it's an amazing recipe. I like
So
the breakfast burrito. That's my go-to because it's
Sure.
quick, it's simple. We use the cage-free eggs. We put
Uh-huh.
tater tots in it,
Mhm.
throw cheese in there, and
Ooh.
use andouille, Italian andouille sausage. So
Oh my gosh.
my fave.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And folks, I'll back it up. The food is phenomenal. And the coffee is excellent as well. I love the coffee. You all bring all these pieces together. It all works.
Yeah.
What somebody considering this, what is the investment level for them what's the range of the investment level for them to get into the business with a Mammoth
The
Coffee?
initial franchise fee is 35 to 40,000, depending on how far you are from the cafe. And then the investment level is from between 345 and about 500,000
Okay.
for the complete build out and all the equipment and everything in your starting inventory.
Okay. And then the support that you all are going to provide. I mean, you all are an emerging brand. So when the beauty of an emerging brand, there's a risk with an emerging brand because it's an immersion, right? But the
Sure.
beauty of an emerging brand is you all have a proven model that works really, really well.
Yes.
And the initial candidates are going to be working very closely with you all so they can understand the culture that you bring and instill that culture into that person. So how would you describe the culture? And what makes the ideal candidate?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, us,
Mm-hmm.
hospitality,
Yep.
community service.
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes to us and says, hey, I want to be in business with you. I'm going to open 5 stores. We're going to make a lot of money together.
Well,
It's a hard pass for us.
yes.
It's not about that. We
Yep.
want people that are invested in their family, in their community, and the philosophy of philanthropy, in helping other people, in helping humanity one roast at a time. It's very, very important for us. And I guess this might be a good time to say we have our first franchise signed up.
Awesome.
so-
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's the first is the hardest. Where is it?
It's been a little while. And we're very ecstatic.
Yep. He's
Yeah.
going to be Pasadena area.
Nice.
He's got a few options, but yeah, it's going to be, which is perfect demographic.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
that would
been-
do very well.
Going to dinner with him and his wife.
Mhm.
And he too embodies that philosophy of philanthropy and helping. He's a
Mhm.
veteran and he
Mhm.
helps veterans causes. And
Nice.
so he understands the meaning of teamwork,
Mhm.
and understands the meaning of community and of integrity and honor and all the things that this brand stands for.
Yeah. And that's what embodies you all. That was my big takeaway with you all is everything. What is your vision for the business going forward?
I just begun the vision. Wow. So we have talked about not making this a 1,000
Mega
unit
brand.
mega brand. That's the furthest away we want to be from
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing. We want to remain small enough where we have direct contact with
Mhm.
every single franchisee. So
Wow.
when we have a meeting, we know everybody. That's
Mhm.
really, really important to us. If we
Mhm.
have 100 units, it's impossible to get to know people
Mhm.
personally, 100 couples personally.
Mhm.
And we don't want that. We want to keep it the small town Mammoth coffee roasting feel.
Mhm.
So that's I think we share that vision.
And it's a very special. You all are very special, and it's a very special place. And anybody considering this, if you're not familiar, if this is your first time looking at franchises, there's a discovery day that's involved, and people will get to go visit you all and experience some of that hospitality firsthand, which in itself is a huge. I don't know what to call that, but it's a great thing.
Yeah.
So that part's really cool. All right. Time to wind this down a little bit. What is one thing that you've done that you wish you had done that helped you get you where you are today? And maybe what would you have done differently that you can provide that guidance to someone considering a franchise, be it yours or somebody else's?
Any franchise or our franchise? Anything, just like advice?
Yeah, in general. But yes, it's that one thing that you say, man, I wish I had done that differently, and this is what I would bring to my business today.
I think one thing I would do differently is buying equipment at auction.
Ah.
We were, we had never been in food service.
Mhm.
We'd run businesses forever. So that came naturally to us. But we thought, okay, this is a way to save money. Let's buy at auction. You never know what you're getting. So a lot of that equipment we didn't end up using. We bought new and
It was really difficult to work with, but I loved going on the auctions and like watching it and doing that.
So not to buy at auction.
Don't buy on an auction.
Buy new. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I underestimated being in a resort town
Mm-hmm.
was how difficult it was going to be to find labor. So we were offering jobs at $3, $4, $5 above what the minimum wage was. And coming from the manufacturing side, that was great. We had 80 employees at our other business and people were down the doors.
Yeah.
We didn't have one person apply at that price point. And we were shocked, blew me away.
Yes.
Wow.
So I would say if you're considering opening in a resort town where there's a lot of seasonality,
Mm-hmm.
be very cautious about the employee pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more difficult than we thought. Our expectation was up here. The reality was down here with getting the
How
employee.
did you all overcome that?
Well, it's interesting because as we had our first 2 or 3 employees,
Mm-hmm.
it turned out it was all word of mouth.
Yes, that's what I figured. That's
There
the
are
culture.
a lot of other businesses where, the people aren't as nice as we are. And
Mhm.
word gets around. And
Yes.
word got around that we're firm but fair.
Yep.
And we're good people to work for. And I don't want to brag or be conceited, but that's true. There's companies that treat people like crap, and it's just not right.
It goes back to the culture. That's why. And that's why your customers come back. And that's why the reviews are what they are for you all. And I think about there's a coffee shop, and it's not a coffee shop, it's a coffee, it's a restaurant, a bean store. They just sell the green bean. And they started out in New Orleans not knowing what they were not from New Orleans. They came to New Orleans to open a shop wondering if they were going to be able to hire people. And once they got the first 2 hires and the customers started coming in and recognizing the culture, they've never had a problem hiring people. And that's the beauty of what you all do. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't forced. It just kind of evolved. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, evolved. That's perfect. All right, so folks, I'm gonna do the call to action here. If you were interested in a Mammoth coffee roasting and working with Steve and Tracie, get in touch with me. I'll have check out closethedeal.com or yourfirstfranchise.com. But just hit one of the contact us buttons and we'll get in touch with you right away. And I'll make the personal introduction to these two amazing folks.
You
Steve
just
and
want to
Tracie.
come back up here.
I just wanted an excuse to get back up there. Well, thank you. And this has been fantastic. This has been so much fun.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's been a pleasure. We enjoyed this very much. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. And that's a wrap with Steve and Tracie. Folks, the added bonus, I mentioned this already, the added bonus is getting to meet them and getting to go to Discovery Day at their location in Mammoth Lakes, California. Stunning place. Great shop, great coffee shop. And the people, it's all about the people. It's all about connection. It's all about mission driven. And this brand is unique in that way. Truly genuine. Folks, I've got a brand new book called Your First Franchise Roadmap. If you've ever considered a franchise, but you have questions. I wrote this book because I got a lot of questions. And I address many of the questions in this book that gets you jump started. It gives you a pathway to follow. I don't sugarcoat what this is, getting into this business. It's not easy. It's work. It is. Sorry. It's work. But you do get a playbook, and that's what makes franchising work. That's why the success rate of a franchise is that much higher than any startup business by itself. So I appreciate you being here. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all those things. And you know the drill. Be intentional and make today a great day. Bye-bye.